Okay, people, this is the second topic for our revision today, human health and disease. Now, this is a very important chapter because those who are aspiring for the NEET examination, उनके लिए बहुत important है ये, because ultimately you are going to treat the diseases and keep people healthy. ठीक है? तो इसलिए इस chapters को, this chapter is very important. Other thing is that in terms of questions also this chapter is important. Okay, so let us look into it. Fine. Okay, now basically ये health चीज है क्या? State of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Fine, that is basically the concept of health. ये definition किसका है? WHO का है, World Health Organization. Fine. Health is affected by genetic disorders, infections, change in lifestyle, addictions, side effects, medications वगैरह, allergic reactions वगैरह, ये सब चीजें आपकी related to health है. ठीक है? Then health is not only physical always, it's also mental. ठीक है? Mind influences the immune system through neural and endocrine systems. When the functioning organs or systems of the body is adversely affected, it is also called a disease. ठीक है? जब functioning ठीक से नहीं होता, abnormality हो गई, anomaly हो गई, तब उसे आप क्या कहते हैं? Disease कहते हैं. ठीक है? So disease को basically हमने दो categories में divide किया. एक infectious, दूसरी non-infectious. Infectious अगर आप बोले तो transmitted from one person to another, which can be contagious. And from the infected person, if it can be transferred to the healthy person, then we call it an infectious or contagious disease. Non-infectious क्या है? Now, this disease cannot be transmitted from the infected or the affected person, diseased person to a healthy person. ठीक है, इसमें कौन सी चीजें आ जाएंगी? जो कि नॉर्मली नॉन पैथोजन बेस्ड होती है, वो आपकी यहाँ पे आ जाएंगी. ठीक है? डेफिशिएंसी हो गए, जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर्स हो गए, ये सब चीजें यहाँ पे आ गई. ठीक अच्छी. Now earlier जब हेल्थ की बात करते थे तो ह्यूमर हाइपोथेसिस वाज अ वेरी प्रोमिनेंट वन. क्यों? Then the concepts, then the tools like the stethoscope, the pathological surveys वगैरह, these were not existing. So people relied upon body fluids for their analysis. ठीक है? प्रोकॉग्नोसिस जिसको हम बोलते हैं. So for that diagnosis, body fluids like saliva, bile, stool, urine, ये चीजों को देखकर analysis की जाती थी. Therefore, it is referred to as the humor hypothesis. Humor means body fluids. ठीक है? So ये theories किसने दी थी? Hippocrates, Indian Ayurvedic system, इन्होंने बनाई थी. Now, humors में क्या डाला? Black bile. ठीक है? Now, according to that concept, black bile is for the person जिसको fever होती है, उसकी bile की color blackish आती है. Although it is incorrect now, but पहले ये था, तो आप याद रखिए इसे. Black bile indicates hot tempered person. ठीक है? Fevers वगैरह. ठीक है? William Harvey disproved the hypothesis. His discovered blood circulation, demonstrated normal body temperatures वगैरह वगैरह. ठीक है? So blood, bile, phlegm, these were all body fluids जिसको हमने humor hypothesis में include किया. Fine. Then comes the common infectious diseases. This is a list of certain diseases. Now, यहाँ पे हमने बस उन्हीं चीजों को, we have included only those infectious diseases that are actually present in your NCERT text. But remember, these are not the only infectious diseases. There are plenty, बहुत सारे हैं. So it is up to you. You can go through all those diseases which you want. But the thing is, we here will discuss only those which are present in your NCERT text. Apart from that, suppose you are interested in knowing more, so you are welcome. You can ask me any of those diseases. Okay? But here we shall be only looking at the कॉमन इन्फेक्शियस डिजीजेस जो कि एग्जिस्ट करती है इन the NCERT text. Fine, just a second. Okay, तो पहली चीज जो यहाँ पे दिखेगी इस टाइफॉइड. The typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi, a bacterium. ठीक है. Mode of transmission small intestine के through, food and water के through infect करता है. Because of this, what happens? हाई फीवर रहती है, हेडेक, वीकनेस, स्टमक पेन, कॉन्स्टिपेशंस, लॉस ऑफ एपेटाइट, इंटेस्टिनल परफोरेशंस एंड डेथ आल्सो मे ऑकर इफ रिमेन्स अनट्रीटेड फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. ठीक है. नाउ टाइप इंपॉर्टेंट है, यहाँ पे ध्यान देना. फर्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट इज हाउ टू डिटेक्ट वेदर इट इज टाइफॉइड और नॉट. आंसर इज वाइडल टेस्ट. सो वाइडल टेस्ट के थ्रू हमको पता लगता है भाई कि वेदर इट इज टाइफॉइड पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव. ठीक है. इसमें होता क्या है, दी Salmonella typhi in its body contains certain antigens. तो इन एंटीजेंस को हम लोग टेस्ट करते हैं. Now whether the antigens are present or absent, it will determine that basically टाइफॉइड इन्फेक्शन है कि नहीं है. ठीक है. So according to the reactivity कितनी मात्रा में है, that also can be understood. See if it is positive, fine, infectious है. अब कितनी डिग्री तक infected है, that will be observed. So basically remember this simple, that Widal test for typhoid detection. ठीक है. Then a very important name is heard of during this particular typhoid, that is typhoid Mary. Typhoid Mary. Mary Malone was simply a cook. ठीक है. A nanny. And she used to cook for a household, and in that household she used to cook. But उस household में all the people had were infected with the typhoid. क्यों? Because typhoid Mary was the carrier of the disease. ठीक है. Now because of this particular disease, since she was a carrier, when she cooked the food, she contaminated the food, and as a result of which the disease typhoid spread among all the people also. ठीक है. Who continued to spread typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. ठीक है. Then pneumonia infects the lungs, alveoli. Alveoli get filled with fluid leading to respiratory problems. ठीक है. As you can see, normal sacs, the alveolar sacs ऐसे दिखते हैं, but जब इसमें fluid filled हो जाती है तो they appear like this, inflamed हो जाते हैं, बड़े हो जाते हैं. As a result of which, since the fluid is filled inside, तो ये diffusion नहीं हो पाता. If the diffusion is not there, then it is a problem. Breathing problems, ठीक है, respiratory problems, saturation drop करती है. Pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae. ठीक है. नाम में इसकी इन्फ्लुएंजा है, but basically it does not cause influenza. It causes pneumonia. याद रखिएगा. ठीक है. ट्रांसमिशन कैसे होती है? By droplets inhalation, aerosols inhalation, released from an infected person. जब वो खांसता है, चीखता है, when the person coughs and sneezes, these particles spread in the air, and when the healthy person takes in them, inhales them, it is infected. ठीक है. Okay. Fine. Symptoms क्या हो गई? Respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache, severe cases में lips and fingers turn grey. Important है. Pneumonia infection में nails etc. turn grey, bluish. तो ये एक symptom है of pneumonia. ठीक है ना? याद रखिएगा. Now, common cold. Common cold is basically rhinitis. Common cold का एक और नाम क्या है? It's rhinitis. Remember this. Common cold is rhinitis. Rhinitis. ठीक है, कॉमन कोल्ड. इट इज अ फॉर्म और वेरिएंट ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंजा ओनली, बट ये नॉर्मली अपर रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट को ही अफेक्ट करता है. अपर रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट को ही अफेक्ट करता है. दैट इज nasal cavity, pharynx and the larynx region only. ठीक है, these are affected by it. But if it is remains untreated and ज़्यादा severe हो जाता है, then it may spread to the lower respiratory tracts also. The trachea, bronchi and in worst cases lungs को भी infect कर सकता है. But in general ये आपकी nasal cavity, pharynx and the larynx region तक ही limited रहता है. In maximum to maximum trachea region तक. ठीक है, ब्रोंकाइटिस भी हो सकती है, बट दैट इज वेरी सीवियर है. ठीक है, एंड कॉमन कोल्ड बेसिकली अपने आप ही ठीक हो जाता है विथ सर्टेन प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स. ठीक है, caused by rhinoviruses. Yes, that's why you call it rhinitis. Mode of transmission क्या है? Inhaling droplets resulting from cough or sneezes from an infected person. So contaminated objects like pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer accessories, etc. Nasal congestion, discharge, fever, headache, sore throat, cough, coldness, tiredness, etc. ये सब चीजें आपकी कॉमन कोल्ड की सिम्टम्स. ओके, देन ये हो गई आपकी बैक्टीरियल एंड वायरल डिजीज में आ गई. अब मलेरिया प्रोटोजोन डिजीज में आओ. फर्स्ट एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज द मलेरिया. ठीक है, कॉज बाय द प्लाज्मोडियम जेनस. प्लाज्मोडियम वाइवैक्स है, प्लाज्मोडियम फाल्सिफेरम है, प्लाज्मोडियम ओवेल है, प्लाज्मोडियम मलेरिया है. ऑल दीज आर बेसिकली प्रोटोजोन. ठीक है, एंड ऑल ऑफ देम कॉज मलेरिया. ठीक है, सबसे सीरियस वाली मलेरिया ये जो प्लाज्मोडियम फाल्सिफेरम है, दिस इज द मोस्ट सीवियर फॉर्म ऑफ मलेरिया. व्हाई? बिकॉज दिस रिजल्ट्स इन ब्रेन मलेरिया, ब्रेन और सेरिब्रल मलेरिया. सेरिब्रल मलेरिया. ठीक है, फाइन. एंड स्प्रेड बाय द फीमेल एनोफिलस मस्कीटो. ठीक है, सिम्टम्स क्या है? सिम्टम्स बेसिकली फीवर्स, चिल्स, बॉडी एक. ठीक है, that is very common in 3 to 4 days repetitions. Fine. लाइफ साइकिल इफ यू ऑब्जर्व इन मलेरिया, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत बार पूछा जाता है. जस्ट एक बार फटाफट देखो. सी से दिस पर्टिकुलर एनोफिलस मस्कीटो, ये यहाँ पे देख, जस्ट ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड. प्लाज्मोडियम यहाँ पे इज द इन्फेक्शियस प्रोटोजोआ, मतलब ये जो है ये आपकी मलेरिया कॉज करता है. ठीक है, प्लाज्मोडियम. नाउ प्लाज्मोडियम हैज 2 होस्ट्स. ठीक है, इसमें एनोफिलस मस्कीटो इज द प्राइमरी होस्ट. ये प्राइमरी होस्ट है. इट इज प्राइमरी. Remember this, these questions come in the exam. Whereas the human being is the secondary host. Secondary. ठीक है, क्यों? Why mosquito is the primary? Because mosquito में sexual cycle होती है, whereas human being रे asexual cycle होता है. So इसके लाइफ साइकिल की 2 पार्ट्स है, सेक्सुअल एंड असेक्सुअल. तो सेक्सुअल लाइफ साइकिल occurs where inside the mosquito, whereas the asexual life cycle occurs inside the human being. ठीक है, now inside the mosquito, what would you observe? Now for instance, this particular anopheles mosquito has already bitten or sucked blood from an infected person. Means already that person had malaria, and now this particular mosquito went and bit that particular human. So what happened? While it was sucking the blood, the malarial pathogen, that is plasmodium, was also taken in with the blood. ठीक है. अब जब वो blood अंदर घुसा इसके in case of the female Anopheles, it continued the plasmodium continued to perform its life cycle. ठीक है. So basically, sorry. Basically, what happened? Once the blood entered inside, the sexual cycle began. कहाँ पे? Inside the mouth region and then the gut region. So सेतरेला कौन? यहाँ पे ध्यान दीजिए, समझ में आएगा. Here, gametocytes were formed. These gametocytes resulted in formation of two types of gametes, male gametes and female gametes. And the male and female gametes fused together. Because of the fusion, resulted in formation of zygote. This zygote underwent certain developments and finally resulted in the formation of sporozoites. ये जो sporozoites this is the infectious stage. Sporozoites are the infectious stage of the plasmodium. Sporozoites are the infectious stage of the plasmodium. Remember this. Infectious. तो किएला infectious रहा वो sporozoites. मन रखी वजन सड़ा. ठीक है. तो gametocites gametes formation है, gametes fertilize है, zygote theory है, zygote development है कि कौन होला sporozoite रे convert हेगला. यही sporozoite थी है infectious stage. Now this sporozoite, when this particular mosquito again bites another person, जे की normal healthy person अच्छी, तो ता body रे कौन infect कर दो कौन छाड़ी दो sporozoites को छाड़ दो. So now in the form of sporozoites, these plasmodium has entered into the body, okay, of the healthy human being. ये sporozoites कौन करीबे ना straight away पड़ेवे liver को, straight away पड़ेवे liver को. Liver भीतर जाएंगी, they will perform their first phases of life cycle. ये जो phases of life cycle हमें कहूँ that is known as सीजोगोनी साइकिल. कौन को आगला? सीजोगोनी. सीजोगोनी माने कौन हो? Here the cell does not perform the cytokinesis after karyokinesis. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ତା ନାଁଟି सीजोगोनी ଦିଆଗଲା. ସେଲ୍ ଆ ଭିତରେ karyokinesis କରୁଛି କେବଳ cytokinesis କରୁନାହିଁ. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ନାଁଟି सीजोगोनी ଦିଆଗଲା. Okay. So hepatic सीजोगोनी कला. सीजोगोनी कला परे जो जिंस गुडी को बाहरला, they are known as merozoites. Sporozoites enter करथिले, सीजोगोनी हल्ला परे जो structure गुडी को बाहरला, they are merozoites. ठीक है. These merozoites enter the RBCs and in the RBC they form the life cycle जोटा कि तमे कहूचे erythrocytic सीजोगोनी. এই এরিথ্রোসাইটিক সিজোগোনি কলা বেলকু যে আরবিসিস মানকু রপচার করি তাদের কোন বাহারিব হিমোজয়েন granules. Remember this. Now hemozoin granules are those substances that result in fever. तो ଯେତେବେଳେ our life cycle ଟି complete ହବ ସେଇ ସମୟରେ hemozoin ଟି ବାହାରଲା. ଯେମିତି hemozoin is released into blood, आपको बुखार आना शुरू हो गया. बुझ पालो कथड़ा. ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ आ लाइफ साइकिल ऊपर डिपेंड करूची तमको ज्वरटी केतेବେଳେ आसीबो. समझ में आई बात? जैसे बुखार आपका in case of malaria etc does not remain there throughout the day or throughout the entire life. ठीक है, entire span. क्यों? Because life cycle तार start है. Life cycle is the A phase T asila that can mean 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. तो उसी हिसाब से आपका क्या होएगा? ज्वरो, कंपो, etc. आसीबो. तो तापूर्वर किछि है? You will be a normal person. So basically, it is the release of these hemozoin granules from the infected RBCs that you'll have these fevers and chills, etc. Okay? So this seasogony is basically an asexual blood cycle. Okay? Once it is done, okay, then these merozoites will again develop into the gametocytes, that is cryptomerozoites. These cryptomerozoites will again be sucked or taken up from the body of this infected person by the mosquito and injected into another body. In that way, malarial cycle continue करता है. Okay? Is there any questions, anyone? If you don't understand, the Bujipalo very good. Now Bujipalo ask again. No problem in that. But this is the life cycle you'll have to remember. Okay? Same insert that we had seen. Okay? Look at mosquito bites another human. Sporozoans parasites are injected. Parasite reach the liver through blood. Asexual reproduction in liver cells. Bursting cells release into release into the blood. Asexual reproduction in RBCs. Bursting RBCs release hemozoin. Cycles of fever and other symptoms. তারপরে gametocytes এটা mosquito ভিতরে হবো gametocytes that is sexual stage in RBCs এମାନେ form কোডি ହେଇଛନ୍ତି ଏମାନେ form ହେଇଛନ୍ତି human ଭିତରେ. These have been formed in the human beings, but they are released into or they are taken up by the mosquito जोटी तार next cycle डी ହେଇଥାଏ. ठीक है? Then comes entamoeba histolytica. It is also a protozoan disease. ठीक है? And the disease is known as amoebiasis or entamoebiasis. ठीक है? And amoeba histolytica, it is known as amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. ठीक है? तो एंटामिबा हिस्टोलोटिका रे कोन हला के स्प्रेड करछि याकू हाउस फ्लाइज माने स्प्रेड करछन्ती. The house flies are the carriers that transmit parasites from fecal matter, ठीक है, to food and other things. Fine. तो जो जिंसों पे जाई बसिबे, as you can see, they will transfer this particular pathogen into them. ताकू जेतले लोकटी खाइला कंज्यूम कला, then तारो प्रॉब्लम गुडी को हला. ठीक अछि. Fine. Symptoms कौन? Constipation हबो, abdominal pain हबो, cramps ହେଇ पारे, stool with excess mucus and blood clots ହେଇ पारे. So this is a very serious condition. ठीक है जी? How? Then comes ascaris. ये ascaris lumbricoides, এটা একটা helminthic disorder. ଆମେ bacterial ଦେଖିଲେ, viral ଦେଖିଲେ, এটা helminthic disorder. ठीक है? So ascaris or intestinal parasite, the mode of transmission is soil, water, vegetables, fruits, etc. contaminated with fecal matter. ठीक है? जी जो तारे कौन था? The eggs of the parasites. ठीक है? आज जो कौन होगा? Internal bleeding होगा, muscle pain नहीं पारे, fever, anemia, blockage of the intestinal passage, all other kinds of things can happen. बुझ पाते हो कथड़ा? So therefore remember this. This kind of condition is caused by the helminth ascaris lumbricoides. ठीक है? You can see the intestinal worm. ये आपका intestinal worm है. ठीक है? Fine. Another is the filarial worm, that is the Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malai. ठीक है? This causes filariasis or elephantiasis. ठीक है? In this condition, the lymphatic vessels are affected, usually of the lower limbs. तो देखो देखी गोड़ोटा गोदरा गोड़ा वाले है गला, enlarge fully गला. Because of this thing only, it is referred to as elephantiasis because गोड़ो गोड़ी को elephant बोलिया ही जीवे. Okay, and आर कोनोसी क्योर नहीं. यदि थोड़े है गला, it is non curable. It is not curable. You can prevent this disease from happening. Nowadays, in public health centers where government PSC, CACs free of cost, tablets are being given, which are anti-filarial tablets. So it is very important. वर्षों को थोड़े ही खाया रची, only once. ठीक है? आपको एक mass program के तहत it's available in all PSCs and CACs. Why? Because मन रखता हूँ जल्दी थोड़े filaria है गला, because you cannot know that filaria होगा कि नहीं होगा. Why? Because mosquito, कौन सी mosquito आपको कब bite करेगी, you don't know that. ठीक है? So and you will not be able to know before it is too late. And thore agency heigala, then it is not curable. It is lifetime, and it will be very very painful, and आपकी lifestyle को पूरा change कर देगी. कुछ काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. And this may also result in other problems like the gonads will be affected and sterility. ठीक है? That's why very very important. So it is only disease which is not a sexually transmitted disease, but may affect your genital organs also. ठीक है? Fine. Then comes to fungal disease like ringworms. इसमें देखो ringworms ये जो especially खरा दिन में झाड़ा etc. बाहर ले in the cavities of groins and armpits ये जिनसटी यही रहता है जिसको आप टीवी में एडवर्टाइजमेंट में देखते हो ringworms बोलते हो आप ठीक है each guard की एडवर्टाइजमेंट वगैरह तो that is nothing but this ringworm only ठीक है so ये ringworm बोला आता है but actually worm नहीं है कुछ भी ये तो देखिए आप एक worm भलिया देखा जाऊँची स्किन पे तो इसलिए इसका नाम रिंगवर्म दिया गया बट इट इज बेसिकली अ फंगल डिजीज कॉज मोस्टली बाय द पाइकोस्पोरम ट्राइकोफाइटन एंड एपिडर्मोफाइटन ठीक है ऑल ऑफ दीज आर बेसिकली प्रेजेंट आर फंगल डिजीजेस ठीक है ऑल ऑफ देम आर फंगल डिजीज एंड ओनली एक्सटर्नली स्किन को ही अफेक्ट करते हैं यू कैन सी देम इस प्रकार की सिम्टम्स बनेगी ठीक है फाइन मोड ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन केमिति हला from soil or by using towels, cloths, comb, etc. जोटा कि infected person use करती हो ताकि use करता नहीं पारे ये वाली vesicles वाली structure ring like formation है जो तापर थ्रू चोपा छाड़ी वो ठीक है तो ये आपकी फंगल डिजीज हो गई मोस्टली कहाँ अफेक्ट करती है स्किन को ही अफेक्ट करती है रिमेंबर फंगल डिजीज डू नॉट अफेक्ट अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडी ठीक है तो ये aggravated condition ये वाला जिनसे है जो पानी गंदा etc. ड्राई स्किन लेशंस ऑन स्किन नेल स्कैल्प एक्सेट्रा इंटेंस इचिंग ये सब चीजें यहाँ पे हो जाती है ठीक है फाइन तो ये यहाँ तक हो गई आपकी डिजीजेस का काम खत्म ठीक है डिजीजेस इज द फर्स्ट पार्ट व्हिच इज ओवर द पर्सनल हाइजीन कीपिंग द बॉडी क्लीन ड्रिंकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ वाटर प्रॉपर हाइजीनिक फूड एक्सेट्रा ये सब आपकी कॉमन हाइजीन है ओके fine then use a mask keeping your hands clean do not allow water to accumulate stagnant disposal of your garbage yeah, all these things are basically the methods of controlling the spread of disease publicly ठीक है fine control elimination of vectors जो आप टीवी में देखते हो ना पानी जमा होने मत दो वगैरह वगैरह ठीक है regular cleaning of household coolers etc for mosquitoes all these things come under using house nets for sleeping ठीक है कैम्बूसिया वगैरह गप्पी फिश यूज करना they will eat away the mosquitoes larvae of the mosquitoes ठीक है control and elimination of the vectors using insecticides and pesticides like DDT fine the control and elimination of vectors through the nets etc malaria से filaria से chikungunya dengue all these can be prevented ठीक है then use of drugs etc vaccine से लेना immunization करना proper medication लेना antibiotics use करना anti helminthic anti fungal drugs use करना so that diseases will not spread ठीक है so by यहाँ तक हमने फर्स्ट पार्ट कवर कर लिया that is the diseases part ठीक है right so if you have any questions still here ठीक है तो आपको मैं 2 मिनट देता हूँ in 2 minutes as I said you previously also refer to your NCERT text यहाँ तक अगर किसी को कोई भी डाउट है तो you are free to ask me now fine and 2 minutes then we'll jump into the next part ठीक है ना okay चलिए quickly Okay, fine people. So no doubts, great, बढ़िया है. Fine, then we move into the next topic. Let's look at it. ठीक है. The next thing is the human immune system. Fine. Basically, what exactly is the human, immune system? Now, that part of the human body which acts as a defense mechanism, that acts as a defense mechanism for fighting any kind of intruder, any kind of intruder. Let that be a pathogen, or let that be bacteria, fungi, virus, etc., or simply an allergic substance. कुछ भी, ठीक है? That is referred to as our immune system. So basically, immune system is the defense mechanism against any kind of agent that can cause a malfunctioning of the human body. So basically, क्या हो गया? It is a system that gives immunity to the body by recognizing and responding and remembering foreign antigens. ध्यान दो इस पे. Recognizing, responding and remembering. Triple R. ठीक है? पहले recognize करता है, फिर respond करता है, फिर याद भी रखता है. In future काम आएगा. So recognizes, responds and remembers the pathogens. ठीक है? Okay. It plays a role in an allergic reaction, autoimmune disease, organ transplantation. सब में इसका role है. In all of them, they are related. ठीक है? Includes lymphoid organs, tissues, cells, and antibodies. ठीक है? Fine. Okay. Now, these are the organs where origin, maturation, and proliferation of lymphocytes occur. ठीक है? So lymphoid organs क्या होते हैं? Those organs where the lymphocytes are produced or mature, they are referred to as lymphoid organs or lymphatic tissue. ठीक है? Lymphatic organs. So primary lymphoid organs हो सकते हैं, secondary lymphoid organs हो सकते हैं. ठीक है? Now, the primary lymphoid organs कौन है? ध्यान दो. Organs where the lymphocytes are matured and differentiated to antigen sensitive lymphocytes, they are termed primary lymphoid organs. Where the lymphocytes are matured and differentiated to antigen sensitive lymphocytes, they are termed primary lymphoid organs. ठीक है? Two types के हैं, bone marrow and thymus. The bone marrow and thymus. These are the two regions where you'll observe the production and maturation of lymphocytes. तो bone marrow किधर है? Inside the long bones, and thymus किधर है? Along your sternal section. ठीक है? Chest के पास. That is what is your thymus. ठीक है? Now, look at it. The site of formation of all blood cells, including B and T lymphocytes, ये किधर है? Bone marrow में है. ठीक है? As you can observe, ये bone marrow structure बना हुआ है. इसमें आपकी दोनों चीजें हैं, where the red bone marrow and the yellow bone marrow. ठीक है? RBM and the YBM. Fine. Inside the RBM and YBM of long bones, all these lymphocytes, then the RBCs, WBCs वगैरह production होती है. As you can see. ठीक है? You can see the normoblasts, myelocytes, erythrocytes. ठीक है? You'll have the adipocytes, eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils, सब यहाँ production होती है. ठीक है? Then thymus क्या है? A bilobed organ seen near the heart and beneath the breastbone, that is sternum. Sternum के नीचे heart region के पास ही आपको क्या मिलेगा? Thymus मिल जाएगा. ठीक है? It's a large during the birth but gradually reduces in size and becomes very small sized in till you reach the puberty. And adults में तो negligible size का हो जाता है, ठीक है? Immature T lymphocytes from bone marrow is migrated to thymus, ठीक है? And mature. Immature T lymphocytes from bone marrow is migrated to thymus and it matures there. ठीक है? So काहे की को बोला? इसको B lymphocytes क्यों बोला आपने? इसको T क्यों बोला? B lymphocytes, B का मतलब है bone marrow. तो जो lymphocytes आपकी bone marrow में जाकर mature होती है उसे B lymphocyte कहते हैं. T lymphocytes का अर्थ है जो आपकी lymphocytes आपकी thymus से mature होती है. They are referred to as T lymphocytes. अरे बुझिए ला रे, ठीक है? As you can see in the figure, ये आपकी हार्ट है, हार्ट के जस्ट ऊपर थाइमस रीजन लोकेटेड है, ठीक है? ये इट इज प्रेजेंट बीनीथ द स्टर्नल सेक्शन. उसके बाद देखिए, the organs to which mature lymphocytes migrate from primary lymphoid organs interact with the antigens and then proliferate to become effector cells, they are termed the secondary lymphoid organs. मतलब फॉर्मेशन वगैरह मैच्योरेशन वगैरह कहाँ हो गए? प्राइमरी लिम्फोइड ऑर्गन्स में हो गए. अब सेकेंडरी लिम्फोइड ऑर्गन्स का काम क्या है? यहाँ से फ्रॉम द प्राइमरी द lymphocytes will migrate to the structures like spleen etc. जहाँ पे ये जाकर एंटीजन से they will fight the antigens or they will interact with the antigens and then result in kind of antigen antibody reaction. ठीक है? So they are referred to as secondary lymphoid organs. Examples में spleen हो गए, lymph nodes हो गए, they are referred to as secondary. ठीक है? Then the organs to which mature lymphocytes migrate from primary lymphoid organs, they are referred to as secondary. तो spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, ये सारी की सारी examples है इसकी ना secondary lymphoid organs की. ठीक है? Then mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, that is malt, even appendix, ये भी आपकी सेकेंडरी में आती है. ठीक है? सो प्राइमरी बस दो है, बोन मैरो एंड दी थाइमस, whereas सेकेंडरी में बाकी सारी की सारी चीजें आ जाती है. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल स्प्लीन है, एज यू कैन सी स्टमक के एकदम पास लोकेटेड है. ठीक है? bean shaped organ contains lymphocytes and phagocytes, removes worn out RBCs and microorganisms from blood. It is a reservoir of erythrocytes in case of fetus. ठीक है? तो fetus के केस में यही आपकी hemopoiesis करती है RBC production. Okay. Then lymph nodes found in the lymphatic system. ठीक है? Trap microorganisms or other antigens. Trapped antigens activate the lymphocytes, cause the immune response. ठीक है? Result in the phagocytosis of those antigens. ठीक है? Now, next आता है malt, that is mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत बार एग्जाम में आया भी हुआ है. malt is mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. मतलब म्यूकोसा आपकी जो लाइनिंग है, ठीक है, इनर लाइनिंग है ऑफ द गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक्ट, उसमें जहां पे भी आपको म्यूकसल टिश्यू दिखेगा, जहां पे म्यूकस प्रोडक्शन होती है, उसके साथ ही एसोसिएटेड है आपकी लिम्फोइड टिश्यू. Therefore, it is known as malt. So, malt क्या होगा? Located within the lining of the respiratory, digestive and the urinogenital tract. तो आपकी डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट दैट इज एलिमेंट्री कैनाल में है, या फिर आपकी रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट में है, या फिर यूरिनोजेनिटल ट्रैक्ट में है. वो जहां जहां भी म्यूकस बन सकता है, ऑल दोज रीजन विल हैव द म्यूकोसा एसोसिएटेड lymphoid tissue. ठीक है? It constitutes approximately 50% of the lymphoid tissue. Very very important. टोटल जितनी lymphoid tissue है उसका 50% मॉल्ट कवर करता है. That is a very very big वैल्यू. ठीक है? तो ये हो गई बेसिकली आपकी इम्यून सिस्टम की कंपोनेंट्स, जिसमें हमने देखा the primary lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs. We also looked at the bone marrow, etc. ठीक है? How do they work? Fine. Okay. अब नेक्स्ट आती है इनकी फंक्शनिंग के ऊपर. the functioning of the immune system is referred to as immunity. The protection of the immune system is referred to as immunity. ठीक है, अब देखो, it is the ability of the immune system to fight the disease causing organisms. ठीक है, टाइप्स ऑफ इम्यूनिटी कितनी होगी? दो प्रकार की है। एक जो पैदा होने से पहले से आपके साथ है, और दूसरी आपने जो विथ एक्सपोजर डेवलपमेंट किया है. So you have innate or inborn and the acquired or adaptive immunity. And let's look into it again. Innate or inborn immunity and acquired or adaptive immunity. ठीक है? Now, पहले innate immunity, something that form of immunity जो आपके साथ आपके पैदा होने के टाइम से है, that is known as innate or inborn immunity. So it's same for all. मतलब मेरे में जो है सेम आप में भी होगा, सेम इन XYZ किसी में भी होगा. Why? Because it's a form of immunity which each and every human being by default will have. ठीक है, इसमें कुछ ज्यादा डिफरेंसेस नहीं होते. सो इट्स मैंडेटरी, राइट? तो इनेट फॉर्म ऑफ इम्यूनिटी हुआ. फाइन. इट इज द नॉन स्पेसिफिक डिफरेंस प्रेजेंट एट द टाइम ऑफ बर्थ. नॉन स्पेसिफिक क्यों है? देखो, सबके लिए सेम है. सो इट इज नॉट वेरिएबल, इट्स फिक्स्ड. एंड इसमें चाहे बैक्टीरिया घुसे, वायरस घुसे, फंगस आए, हेलमिंथ आए, भले कुछ भी आ जाए, no matter what enters, the response to these would be the same. बैक्टीरिया के लिए जो रेस्पॉन्स मैकेनिज्म होगा, फंगस के लिए भी सेम होगी, वायरस के लिए भी सेम होगी. So there is no variation in terms of any kind of immune response. समझ में आई बात? Now, it provides barriers to the entry of foreign agents. किस प्रकार की बैरियर? देखो, फिजिकल बैरियर हो गया स्किन, फिजियोलॉजिकल बैरियर हो गई the various body mechanisms, cellular barriers हो गए phagocytic cells like neutrophils, ठीक है, monocytes, macrophages, cytokine barriers हो गए productions from the body, ठीक है, cytokines. Okay, now look at them one by one. Physical barriers, for instance, skin हो गया, mucus coating हो गई. क्या है ये? Prevent the entry of foreign bodies. So body के बाहर एक there is a skin. The skin is impregnable. मतलब you cannot penetrate through the skin. Therefore, it will prevent any kind of foreign bodies from entering into the body. Then comes mucus coating. The mucus coating of the lining, the respiratory, gastrointestinal, and urinogenital tracts to trap the microbes. ठीक है? ओके, तो ये बेसिकली आपकी बैरियर हो गई फिजिकल. देन कम्स फिजियोलॉजिकल बैरियर्स. इसमें क्या आ जाएंगे? गैस्ट्रिक juices, HCl, saliva, tear, all these are referred to as the barriers. Just a second. Hello. ऐसे में नहीं, right? Right? Oh. मजा जाता है ये शिवाजी की बोली है सिद्धार्थ समाज देव का खराब अच्छी है हो okay. So we have the gastric juices, HCl, etc., saliva, tear. These all are basically substances which are produced or secreted by the body. Hence, they are referred to as physiological barriers. Okay. Okay. Tapan Nayak. When it comes to next the cellular barriers. अब cellular barriers क्या है? Those particular types of secret प्रोडक्शंस जो कि सेल्स के फॉर्म में है, जैसे न्यूट्रोफिल्स हो गए, यूसिनोफिल्स हो गए, मैक्रोफेजेस, मोनोसाइट्स, ठीक है, ऑल दीज आर फैगोसाइटिक इन नेचर, इसलिए उनको बोला जाता है सेलुलर बैरियर्स। क्यों? ये जैसे ही आपकी कोई भी इंफेक्शियस एजेंट वगैरह पाते हैं, देन दे विल एनगल्फ इट, सीधा निगल जाएंगे, सो देयरफॉर दे आर सेलुलर बैरियर्स, ठीक है। See, phagocytes like WBCs, neutrophils, the PMNL cells, monocytes, natural killer lymphocytes, NK cells, macrophages, all these are basically what? The cellular barriers. ठीक है? उसके बाद देखिए cytokine barriers. Virus infected cells secrete a cytokine proteins called interferons. अब ये interferons जो है ये आपकी वायरल इन्फेक्शन को प्रिवेंट करते हैं, ठीक है। These prevent the infection spreading to other forms of cells. ठीक है। So क्या हो गया? It protects the non-infected cells from further viral infection. ठीक है। मान लो ये infected cell है, ठीक है। इसने क्या किया? Interferons production कर दिया. Now because of the interferons which is produced and from this particular infected cell, ये interferons क्या करेंगे ना? It attaches to the receptors of this healthy cell. ठीक है। जब ये अटैच हो गए तो इस पर्टिकुलर सेल ने क्या किया? एंटीवायरल प्रोटीन्स मैन्युफैक्चर करना शुरू कर दिया। बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ दिस एंटीवायरल प्रोटीन्स, जो न्यूक्लिक एसिड है किसकी? वायरस की, उसे डिस्ट्रॉय कर देंगे। वंस द न्यूक्लिक एसिड इज डिस्ट्रॉयड इन अ वायरस, द वायरस इज नॉन इफेक्टिव, इट कैन नॉट कॉज एनी इन्फेक्शन। समझ में आई बात? सो दिस इज साइटोकाइन बैरियर्स। तो फिजिकल बैरियर्स हो गई, फिजियोलॉजिकल बैरियर्स हो गई, सेलुलर बैरियर्स हो गई एंड द साइटोकाइन बैरियर्स हो गई, ठीक है। तो दैट इज बेसिकली अबाउट योर इननेट और इनबॉर्न इम्यूनिटी, जिसमें आपकी ओनली क्या चीजें इंक्लूडेड है? ऑल दोज दैट यू आर बोर्न विद। इट इज नॉन स्पेसिफिक। व्हाई? बिकॉज इट हैज द सेम सेट ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सेज फॉर ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इन्फेक्शंस, ठीक है। Okay. Then acquired immunity क्या होगी रे बच्चा? Though that form of immunity which you have acquired, but gained, but developed with exposure to pathogens, antigens, etc., or to circumstances, etc., that is known as acquired immunity. तो ये पहले से नहीं थी आपके पास, but with continuous exposure ये चीज डेवलप हुई है, ठीक है। Okay. Then सो पैथोजन स्पेसिफिक इम्यूनिटी है ये। क्यों? जिस प्रकार का पैथोजन आपको अफेक्ट करता है उसी प्रकार की रेस्पॉन्स ये देगा, ठीक है। सो द रेस्पॉन्स इज नॉट सिमिलर टू दैट ऑफ द टाइप ऑफ द पैथोजन, ठीक है। सो पैथोजन स्पेसिफिक इम्यूनिटी डेवलप्ड ड्यूरिंग द लाइफ टाइम ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल. So it is characterized by memory, that is during first encounter of a pathogen, body produces primary response in low intensity. Second encounter of the same pathogen causes secondary anamnestic response in high intensity. ठीक है, फाइन। पहली रेस्पॉन्स जो होती है स्लो होती है, ठीक है। फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्स इज स्लो, सेकेंड रेस्पॉन्स विल बी anamnestic मतलब वायलेंट, ठीक है। क्यों? सेकेंड रेस्पॉन्स के टाइम पे मेमोरी सेल्स फॉर्म हो जाते हैं। वंस द मेमोरी सेल्स आर फॉर्म्ड, देन इट इज द रेस्पॉन्स इज मोर विगरस, मोर एक्यूरेट एंड इफेक्टिव, ठीक है। सो फर्स्ट रेस्पॉन्स हमेशा स्लो होता है, सेकेंड रेस्पॉन्स इज द वन व्हिच इज एक्चुअली वेरी रिगरस इन नेचर, ठीक है। ओ अब देखो, एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी में दो प्रकार के रेस्पॉन्सेस हैं, एज आई हैव जस्ट सेड, प्राइमरी रेस्पॉन्स एंड सेकेंडरी रेस्पॉन्स, ठीक है। ये कैसे होती है? बाय बी लिम्फोसाइट्स एंड टी लिम्फोसाइट्स टुगेदर। फाइन। बी lymphocytes क्या है? Already we know those particular lymphocytes which are manufactured in the bone marrow and mature in the bone marrow, उन्हें आप B lymphocytes कहते हैं. These are the proteins to fight with pathogens. Now, ये क्या बनाते हैं B lymphocytes? They produce antibodies. इन antibodies की help से ही हम लोग antigens को मार भगाते हैं. ठीक है? Now, then comes the T lymphocytes. अब T lymphocyte क्या है? It helps the B cells to produce the antibodies. Helps the B cells to produce the antibodies. ठीक है ना? Fine. So, ये T cells B cells को help करते हैं. Then only you'll have the antibodies. Now, यहाँ पे देखो एक चीज. These are the B cells. ठीक है? B cells के पास पहले कुछ नहीं होता. The simple cells. Once what happened, ये B cell क्या receptor है, fine, and this star-like thing here is the chemical signal. Once this particular chemical signal is achieved by it or reaches it, then the helper T cell, provides the stimulus for releasing of the particular or production of the particular antibodies. तो अब ये आपकी जो B cell है, it now transforms into a plasmocyte or plasma cell. इसके अंदर क्या होगी? बहुत सारी ढेर सारी antibodies होगी. Now all these antibodies will be released to the outside. ठीक है? And these antibodies will react with the antigens and neutralize them. So in this way, T lymphocyte helps the B lymphocyte to produce these antibodies that counter the antigens. ठीक है? अब देखो एंटीबॉडी कैसी होती है, व्हाट इज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द एंटीबॉडी एंड टाइप्स ऑफ द एंटीबॉडी. ध्यान दीजिए. एन एंटीबॉडी हैज 4 पॉलीपेप्टाइड चेन्स. ठीक है? H2L2, that is 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. ठीक है? टाइप्स ऑफ एंटीबॉडीज क्या हो गई? IgA हो गई, IgD हो गई, IgE हो गई, IgG हो गई, IgM. IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG and IgM. All these are the antibodies. ठीक है? Now look at the structure of the antibody here. ठीक है? This basically is the heavy chain. ठीक है? And this basically is the light chain. जो छोटा वाला है वो लाइट चेन है, जो बड़ा है वो हेवी चेन है. ठीक है? Now, both the heavy chain and the light chain have one thing in common though. That is the variable part. That is the variable part. तो heavy chain में and light chain में मिला के एक variable है. Again इस तरह heavy chain and light chain में मिला के एक और variable है. That is the site for attachment of the specific antibodies. उजेला. ठीक है? And in between the heavy and the light chains are connected by the use of disulfide bridges. Ujjala, understood? If you look at the types of antibodies, various kinds of antibody shape or form are there. यहाँ देखिए IgA है, basically it is a dimeric one. ठीक है? IgD, IgE, IgG, ये आपकी monomeric forms है. Then IgM is the largest and referred to as the pentameric antibody. ठीक है? Because you can see इसकी 5 arms associated है. Okay? Got the point? So A, D, G, E, M. ठीक है? इसमें the A is a dimer. ठीक है? M is a pentamer. बाकी जितने सारे हो गए they are monomers. ठीक है? Fine. Now types of the acquired immune system or immune response कितनी है? What are the various types of immune response? Let's look at. पहला humoral और antibody mediated response. Humoral response और antibody mediated response. ठीक है? AMI. वैसे ही दूसरी क्या है, सेल मीडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी, सेल मीडिएटेड रिस्पॉन्स और सेल मीडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी, वो भी देखना है, बुझोला। सो दो प्रकार की हो गई, एंटीबॉडी मीडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी एंड द अदर इज द सेल मीडिएटेड रिस्पॉन्स, ठीक है, AMI एंड CMI। देन ह्यूमरल और एंटीबॉडी मीडिएटेड रिस्पॉन्स, एंटीबॉडी मीडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी जिसको आप बोलते हैं, it is a response or it is the immune response mediated by antibodies. तो यहाँ पे directly the antibodies are participating, fine, the antibodies are found in the blood plasma, so called humoral immune response, ठीक है, fine। এটা মনে রাখিবে রে বাবু, that in this situation the antibodies are directly sent into the blood, hence the mechanism is known as humoral immune response, ठीक है, ओके। ये कैसे होता है देखो जरा, मान लीजिए ये वायरस है, ठीक है, and the virus entered the body, then these are the antibodies that attach themselves to the surface of the viruses, ठीक है। Now therefore the virus cannot infect the cell, hence uninfected cell would be healthy, ठीक है। Then that is one response. Because of that, there is another mechanism also. Once the virus has been marked and surrounded, then signal is sent kahan pe? To the body's various phagocytic cells present. They will come and simply engulf that particular virus completely. ठीक है? Now, types of acquired immune response क्या है? It is the immune response made by T lymphocytes, ठीक है, कौन, CMI, CMI कौन कला, T lymphocyte द्वारा যদি কলা তাহলে CMI, B lymphocyte যদি কলা তাহলে humoral immunity বা AMI, because B lymphocytes cannot fight, B lymphocytes are only meant for the humoral immunity or passive immunity, whatever, okay. So it is the immune response mediated by T lymphocytes or T cells. The body can differentiate between self and non-self. Okay? And CMI causes the graft rejection. CMI causes the graft rejection. Okay? Fine. Now, if there is a lack of graft rejection, there will be a critical condition involved. Okay? तो क्या होता क्या है इसमें देखो. For instance, ये वायरस अफेक्टेड इन्फेक्टेड होस्ट सेल है, ठीक है, then the T cell makes contact and releases granules इसके अंदर, ठीक है, so cytotoxic T cell व TC cell जगह पे पहुंचे, सी एसिला एंड आ संगरे अटैच हुआ, ठीक है, किसके साथ, वायरस इन्फेक्टेड सेल के साथ. अब थ्रू दैट पर्टिकुलर cytotoxic T cell or TC cell, the particulates are emptied into the infected cell. Once the infected cell is gone, ठीक है, once the infected cell is gone, ठीक है, in that condition आप क्या करेंगे, yes, simply that particular viral particles जो भी थे, they will be ingested and digested, right, and rest of it will be kept for as a sample to recognize further developments, ठीक है. So basically, it is the immune response mediated by the T lymphocytes. The body can differentiate self and non-self, and the CMI causes graft rejection. Important. The graft rejection is due to the activation of the CMI. Okay. Now, look into this. In the acquired immunity, is also a very, very important thing where the the donor and the participants or the donors and the patient, they must be compatible in nature. Okay. So tissue matching, blood type matching are very, very essential in order to find out the chances of success of any kind of a transplant. Okay. Then tissue matching and blood grouping matching are essential before undertaking any graft or transplant. Okay. After this, the patient has to take immunosuppressant drugs throughout their life. Okay. Fine. Throughout the life. And blood group matching already you know. O, A, B, A, B. O is universal donor. It can donate blood to all of them. To O, A, B and AB. Whereas AB is the universal recipient. It can receive blood from any. That is O also, A also, B also, AB also. Okay? Fine. Now, acquired immunity also. Types of acquired immunity. Active, passive. Two types. Active immunity is, no. See, first of all, what do you mean by active and passive? Try and understand. Active immunity का मतलब होता है where the body itself manufactures the antibodies or develops the immune system. Body on its own, ठीक है, will manufacture the antibodies. Then you refer to it as active immunity. Whereas passive immunity implies the आपके the antibodies etc. whichever is there will be manufactured outside the body and directly taken into the body. Okay? Manufacturing will be done outside the body and then supplied directly. Then it is known as passive immunity. बुझिएला active में body से खुद से production होती है. That is active immunity. Whereas passive immunity is something which is done later. That is once the what you can say conditions are bad or conditions are not healthy, then directly things, substances or antibodies are taken from the producer and injected in the patient. That is known as passive. Okay? Now, look at this active immunity here. It is the immunity with which antibodies are produced inside a host. Okay? Inside a host. When the host is exposed to antigens, yes, living or dead microbes or another proteins. Now, this is basically the concept of immunity, right? Then this, आपकी antibody production वगैरह, it is a very slow process. Yes, it is produced by two ways: natural active immunity, ठीक है, device, ठीक है, it is developed during natural infection by organisms. Then number two, artificially active immunity developed by injecting microbes deliberately during the immunization. Okay? It is developed by injecting microbes deliberately by during immunization. ठीक है? तो बेसिकली कौन वाला एक्टिव इम्यूनिटी जब हुआ, I said already, active manela body bhittare hi ginti antibody production hai. So in order to do that, two methods hai. One is the natural method, the other is artificial method. Natural method है when your body is exposed to such kind of pathogens, the body bhittare development of that is known as the natural form of active immunity. Then artificial form of active immunity क्या है? When you are deliberately injecting, when you are deliberately injecting any vaccine or TT or whatever, okay, then it is referred to as artificial activity. Why? Because here artificially things have been done. Automatically in way you have injected it, hence it is artificial in nature. ठीक है? अब उसके बाद देखिए. Then comes the passive immunity. अब passive immunity क्या होती है? In passive immunity, the ready-made antibodies are directly given to the patient. Why? Because the patient's immune system is not strong enough. If the patient's immune system is not strong enough, therefore, it cannot fight the infection or produce the antibodies. Therefore, directly antibodies are given to the patient. ठीक है, ये दो प्रकार की होती है. अगेन सेम, नेचुरल, आर्टिफिशियल. Natural form of passive immunity क्या है? When the mother is feeding the child through breast milk, it is known as passive. ठीक है, फाइन. तो यहाँ पे दो तरह के हो रहे हैं, देखो कैसे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, the antibodies like IgG are transplacental, मतलब they can propagate from the mother into the fetus. ठीक है, फाइन. तो एंटीबॉडीज आईजीजी कौन कर लेना, क्रॉस कर ले प्लेसेंटा. ठीक है, फ्रॉम दी एंड वर रिसीव्ड बाय दी मदर. ठीक है, देन एंटीबॉडीज आईजीए इन कोलोस्ट्रम एंड इन्फेंट्स. द फर्स्ट milk for approximately 1.5 to 2 weeks is yellowish and very very important for the yes infants. So इसे आप कोलोस्ट्रम बोलते हैं. Colostrum is a thick yellowish colored milk that is produced by a pregnant woman or a mother after it sees a child. ठीक है. Then next, anti-tetanus serum. जैसे for example हो गया in case of artificial passive immunity, इसमें आप injectable ले रहे हैं, that is anti-tetanus TT. ठीक है, done. So ये हो गई आपकी basically active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity, the things are manufactured or formed by themselves. Passive immunity में आपके injections like TT is given. ठीक है. Next comes immunization and the vaccination. Try to understand this one. Immunization, ठीक है. Immunization is basically development of memory. This is based on memory of the immune system. ठीक है. Now, if it is based on the development of the memory of the immune system, then there is no point in developing a tendency where you can solve small things by using what can say immunization drops like polio. ठीक है. So दो प्रकार की है, एक active immunization, एक passive immunization. Active immunization is something where the immunity is developed within the body on exposure. Passive immunization का मतलब हो गया again, ठीक है, where directly the ready-made antibodies are given to the child. ठीक है, that is known as active and passive immunization. Now, what is active immunization? See here. When live attenuated pathogens are injected into the body of any organism, then it is known as active immunization. ठीक है जी. Active immunization माने हैला when the particular structure, ठीक है, is involved in direct manufacturing of the content inside the body. ठीक है, then you call it active. Whereas passive का वाला, same immunization or vaccination is done, but in the form of the antibodies that have resulted in the formation of it. ठीक है. In this, a preparation of vaccine, antigen, and protein and pathogen or inactivated pathogen is introduced into the body. ठीक है. It results in the development of the antibodies. During actual infection, the antibodies neutralize the antigens. ठीक है. Then the vaccines also generate memory and T cells. They can recognize the pathogens quickly. Polio vaccine, the hepatitis B vaccine, the DPT vaccine, all these are vaccines for the memory and the T cells. Vaccines are produced during DNA recombinant technology. Okay? Hepatitis B vaccine produced from the yeast. Now, when it comes to passive inhalation, इसमें क्या हुआ? The body of that patient is not able to manufacture. The body of is not able to manufacture. Since it is not able to manufacture, तो इसमें leafy stage वगैरह होगा. That will increase. ठीक है? That will increase. It is required for quick immune response. Quick immune response. Example, immunization against. ठीक है? Tetanus, snake venom, etc. Fine. Immunization against tetanus, snake venom, etc. Ete record हुए ना हमें directly antibodies नौचे and inject कर दोचे into the patient. Why? Because the time is too less and any delay can cause life risk to the patient. Hence, immediately the injection is provided. ठीक है? Then allergy. Allergy basically है क्या? Allergy basically is any set of reaction towards the any form of reaction towards the histamines. Yes. ठीक है. ठीक है. Then next come the allergens. There are plenty of allergens inside the around us. Now thing is ki which particular organism will be allergic to what? That is a question mark. Allergies can be many. But which particular form of allergy would affect what particular type of human being, that is different. So all people may not have the allergy to same thing, or their body may not show same kind of response. Therefore, allergies which we are talking of, they are basically or primarily we are talking of allergic substances. Okay? So all substances that may cause allergy are referred to as allergens. क्या है ये? Dust है, pollen grains है, animal dander है, वगैरह. Now, IgE is the antibody that is the counter for any kind of allergy. ठीक है? It binds to the mast cells to release chemicals like histamine and serotonin, which cause these allergic reactions. ठीक है? Then allergy की symptoms क्या है बाबू? Sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, body ache, difficulty in breathing, etc., lethargy. ठीक है? Then what is the mechanism of healing it? First of all, determine of causes of the allergy. Secondly, the patient exposed to or injected with very small doses of possible allergens and the reactions are studied. Okay? So in that way, which particular substance may cause allergy is checked, as a result of which we are unable to conclude कौन सी है. ठीक है? In case of allergies, treatments are done. ठीक है? How? By using antihistamine, adrenaline, and the steroidal drugs. Asthma is a respiratory disease. ठीक है? Asthma is a respiratory disease. Modern day lifestyle results lowering of immunity and more sensitivity towards allergens. Many children in the metro cities suffer from allergies and asthma, that is respiratory disorders. ठीक है? This is due to the unprotected and polluted environment. Fine. Now, next is the autoimmune disorders. So rheumatoid arthritis is one of them. As you can see, it is higher vertebrates. In higher vertebrates, memory-based acquired immunity evolved based on the ability to differentiate foreign organisms from cells. Fine. Sometimes due to the genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks the cells. Means the body got an important property called self and non-self. Means it is able to recognize कि एटा मोर नेचर ऑफ बेनिफिशियल एंड एटा बाहरु आस्टी हार्मफुल बट ए ऑटोइम्यून डिजीज जेतल हला then it forgets that particular thing means it is no longer able to determine what is beneficial and own and what is of the different one means what is outsider what is your own ସେଇ ଜିନିଷଟିକୁ ଜାଣିବା ତା ପାଇଁ ମୁସ୍କିଲ ହେଇଯାଏ or it cannot do so ଯେହେତୁ ନିଜେ କରିପାରୁନି therefore it starts to kill all the cells together that is known as rheumatoid arthritis ठीक है फाइन तो ये हो गई बेसिकली आपकी ऑटो इम्यूनिटी डन ठीक है जी फाइन तो यहां तक आपका हो गया खत्म ठीक है हेल्थ एंड डिजीज वाली पार्ट रिमेनिंग ओनली बचता है आपका अल्कोहल ड्रग अब्यूज एंड एडोलसेंस ठीक है दैट विल बी सीन इन द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ठीक है चलिए बच्चा लोग थैंक यू वेरी मच एंजॉय योर पूजा वेकेशंस अच्छे से पढ़िए माता जी को ध्यान कीजिए शी विल गिव यू प्रॉस्पेरिटी शी विल गिव यू हैप्पीनेस ठीक है एंड सक्सेस so I pray that all of you are blessed with the blessings of the eternal goddess ठीक है ना चलो जय जगन्नाथ wish you all a happy Durga Puja चलो see you